So I'm just going to take apart the carburetor and take some notes. I like to mark right where these screws are. So this one's the low and this one over here is the high. So we're going to start with the low and I'm going to turn it in. There's half a turn in, there's one turn in, about 1 1/4 turns. So I'm going to write that down so I know what's going on. Low, 1 1/4, and now we'll check the high. So we're going to the high. In half, in 1, 1 1/4, a little bit more than 1 1/4, so I'll write down 1 1/4 plus. Alright, now we'll pull out our low completely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark our low set screw here. I'm going to mark the head with a scratch so that I don't get it confused with the high. Sometimes these are the same, low and high, and sometimes they're not, but I want to be sure. So I'm going to take something and scratch the edge of the head here, and then I'll mark my paper that I scratched the low one. Here's the head of the low. All I did is put a scratch across it. Okay, I used a file, real small file, so you can kind of see that there. And don't use a marker because it'll come off when you clean them. So if you take a look at the high and low set screws, you can tell that they're obviously different. Next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to pull these screws out of the carburetor. So there's one. Here's the other. And then we'll get in there and take a look at the anatomy of this thing. And if it's in real bad shape, I'm going to have to get a carb kit for it. Stop right here. So this is actually the metering diaphragm. And doesn't even seem that bad. I thought it would be worse. It's still pretty flexible. It's slightly stiff, but I think it'll work. If it doesn't work, we'll just order a new metering diaphragm. In fact, alright, so in here, it's going to be pretty hard to see, but this is your needle and seat. And I'm just going to put my thumb on the lever there, and we'll loosen up this set screw. Man, is that tight. That's holding everything in place. Just got to break this loose. Alright, that's slightly stripped. I gotta get a flat head on there. Alright, I was able to break it loose, and I used a Phillips head screwdriver, a different one, pushed really hard. It was just hard to hold in front of the camera and do it at that angle. So I didn't want to strip it anymore. So I did get it out. The screw should just be snugged up, but not cranked super tight like that. And in here, there's a little spring. You have your lever, your fulcrum, your spring, and this is your needle. So you want to take all these, and I'm just storing everything in a small container because I'm going to clean this in my ultrasonic cleaner. So here's the back side. That screw came right out nice and easy. Same with this one. And we're just gonna pop this apart. It should come loose. There we go. And that looks really clean. Clean as can be. And we have our gaskets in here. And these gaskets look alright. Even the screen looks nice and clean on here. Here's the screen. Well, here's what I've decided to do. I don't want to wreck these gaskets. I know I don't have replacements for these, and usually these don't even have to be replaced. So I'm going to carefully remove that screen, and to do that I'm going to need a pick, and I'm just going to carefully pull out that screen that's in here and not lose it. You can see it looks like a little cup. And we're going to take that screen and make sure that gets cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner as is, and I'm hoping I'll be able to, after it heats up and cleans, these might soften up a little bit and I might be able to peel them off. So that's what I'm going to wait for. If I can't peel them off, I'm just going to leave them on. The carburetor actually looks pretty clean all in all. So we're going to give it an ultrasonic bath and then put it back together. Well, I got lucky. I had the kit for this carburetor, so I'm going to switch right out this metering side, and then we'll put it back together. So luckily I had it. Righty guys, we're back from our ultrasonic cleaning. I ran about 3 6-minute cycles, and I tried to peel this gasket off when it was real hot and I couldn't budge it. So I just kind of figured I'd leave it. That's one of the nice things about ultrasonic cleaning. You don't have to worry about your gaskets getting worn away like if you soaked them in carb cleaner, because all you use is just water, and I use a little Dawn dish detergent. And I actually have a video on how to use the ultrasonic cleaner under double wide 6 if you're interested. So I'm going to leave this on here. I blew this thing out with compressed air and let it sit out in the sun to try and dry, and I think it should be good. You know, I'm willing to try this stuff. If it doesn't work out, I'll pull apart the carburetor, get a carb kit, and fix it right. But I have a feeling it'll work, and you just don't know unless you try, so I'll give it a shot here. It seemed to... you know, I was able to get what I think all the moisture out of there by blowing it with compressed air for about 2-3 minutes. So I'm just going to start assembling the carburetor. So here we go. We're going to start with the low end here, and I just left the springs on these pins. That way I wouldn't get them confused, because I don't know if the springs are exactly the same. And what we want to do is completely screw this screw down till it seats, and then we're going to back it up. For the low, it was 1 1/4 turns. Alright, it bottomed out. You don't want to crank it too tight, so I'm going to go 1/2, 1 1/4. And then the high, we're going to do the exact same thing for the high, and we're going to set it to a little more than 1 1/4. Alright, the high and low screws are back in place. Now I'm going to take our screen, and the idea of the screen is just to filter out any debris, and that actually sits right in here. And I'm going to use the back of a drill bit to kind of push that down in the hole that it belongs in, and as you can see, it went right in that hole. So that's where the fuel screen goes. The next thing that we're going to do is put the back on our carburetor. So I'm going to open up the throttle a little bit. I'm going to take our back piece, and we're just going to line it up till it seats on the carburetor, and then you can let the throttle shut. And you're going to put in the 2 bigger Phillips head screws. Alright, here's the hard one to show you guys. So we're going to do the needle and that assembly. So first thing I'm going to do is drop the needle in the hole. The next thing you have to do is take that little tiny spring, and you're going to put that in the spring hole, which is right here. So I put the needle in that hole, the spring here standing up. So next thing you want to do is I'm going to take my fulcrum and my lever, and I'm going to carefully set the fulcrum on the spring and put the tip of the lever underneath the head of the needle, and it is very hard to show, but that's how it goes together. And then I'm going to hold it down with my thumb, and I'm going to put in that set screw, and that's the one that I slightly stripped because it was in so tight. So I'm going to carefully snug that up. Alright, so now we're on to these new gaskets. So first thing you do is put on a gasket, and then you put on your pumping diaphragm. Line those guys up. And then there's a metal plate, and you want to look at the pins to see how that actually goes on. So it goes on like this. So you want to make sure all your gaskets are lined up and it fits on there right, and then it's these two small Phillips head screws. So we'll just tighten up these screws. I like these old carburetors with the high and low adjustment. I've had issues with some of the newer Echo stuff because you can't clean the carburetors that don't have the jets like this one, the high and low. And I like picking up this older Echo equipment because this carburetor will fit on some of the newer equipment, and then you can clean it when you want and adjust it how you like. So that's why these older Echo carburetors are pretty good in my mind. Alright, so I think we're ready to slap this back on the machine and see if it works. Alright, so here's the power head back again. First thing that we're going to do is take our new fuel line and just slipping it up through that grommet again, and we're going to insert it right where it's supposed to go, that the hose will slide onto. So you want to push this up as far as it'll go, and if you can't get it, you can use needle nose pliers sometimes just to wiggle it up, but this is moving ever so slowly. So once you have your fuel line connected, you're going to then hook up your throttle. So got to pull the fuel line a little bit more. There we go. Throttle line, you're just going to drop in there. Hopefully you can see that. Oops. The thing spun. Drop the line over it and then pull back, and that's how that will fit in. Alright, next thing that you want to do is you're going to take your air filter assembly and you're going to line up these mounting bolts through the carburetor, and these are actually lining up, so it's not too bad. And I'm just going to take a Phillips head screwdriver. You want to be careful that you have the choke on your air filter assembly here down towards the bottom of the machine. So here is the air filter cover, and if you flip it over you can see a fine mesh screen here. I'm just going to blow this out with compressed air and clean out wherever it's clogged up. So that's something that you'll want to do as well. And we'll pop on our air filter cover just like that, nice and easy, no tools. We're going to put some fuel in there. It's mixed gas. I believe Echoes take 50-to-1 fuel. So I'll put that in and we'll show you a cold start of this thing. Hopefully it'll work. Alright, this will be a cold start. On. Choke closed. we go. Probably going to take a couple pulls. Little something. See all the bugs coming out of this thing? Stink bugs. We're going to turn off the choke. Come on. Half choke. So it just takes a little while for the fuel to get up. Well, she looks like she's running great, and you can see all this stuff here on the ground. These are all stink bugs that came out of there when I started that thing. The only thing it's going to need is a little adjustment on that high screw. It's not quite running right at full speed yet on high, so I'm just going to just adjust that, maybe a 1/16 of a turn. But that's an Echo GT 2100. I took you through the process beginning to end. I'm double wide 6. I got a whole bunch of repair videos and fix-it things, so check out my page. I also have some other videos that are a little more detailed on carburetor cleanings. So that's what it takes to fix one of these things. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them up. Have a great day. We'll see you.